I own two traditional single-let properties and I quickly realized that they are probably some of the worst investments that I've made in my life. Of course, it depends on your situation and I still own these properties and I don't plan to sell them anytime soon. But in this video, I'm going to share a strategy that has turned my portfolio around and has made me a much more profitable investor. What's up, Louis? It's 2025 here. Hope you are doing great. I hope that everyone enjoyed their festive season, that you had a good rest, but most importantly of all, I hope that 2025 would be a year of breakthroughs for everyone watching this video and that you will make progress in every part of your life. In this video, we are going to talk about my 750,000 Rand property strategy. I'm going to share how the numbers compares to your traditional single-let property and why it makes so much more sense to approach this multi-let strategy. I'm also going to share why the 750,000 Rand price class is so important. So if this is something that you might be interested in, stay and watch until the end. I own two traditional single-let properties. And I quickly realized that these specific deals is not really going to be very profitable in the short term. Although this is known as your traditional single-let, or let's call it your vanilla investments, these deals can still make you a lot of money. Just because this strategy that I'm going to share with you guys works for me doesn't necessarily mean that it will work for you. So just approach investing in your own way, in a way that it makes sense for your specific situation, your risk appetite, and your end goals. The property that I'm standing in is a property that was originally listed for 900,000 Rand, and I ended up paying 750,000 Rand for this property. This is the first important part, because buying a property for cheaper than it's actually worth is one of the easiest ways to make money from day one. This simply means we are building equity from day one, and this is equity that we can later on leverage to expand our property portfolio. This specific deal is in the city of Bloemfontein, Free State, and it is a high traffic area, which means there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of demand in this specific area. This property was originally rented out for 7,500 Rand, which is really not a bad income for this type of property. But this property is bonded on a 30-year term at prime rate. So at the end of the day, the bond cost that you need to pay the bank alone is around 7,500 Rand. Of course, there's rates and taxes and levies that you need to add to your expenses. So at the end of the day, this property is costing me around 9,600 Rand on a monthly basis. Of course, the income that you would have received with a traditional single-let property would only be 7,500 Rand. You can do the math yourself, but obviously the shortfall on this property is going to be 2,100 Rand on a monthly basis. Yes, of course, this is not going to make you go bankrupt, and depending on your financial situation, you might be able to afford this shortfall on a monthly basis. Maybe you are a high income earner or you have a big emergency fund. But at the end of the day, average or majority investors don't just have money to throw away just to keep your accounts up to date. So instead of using this property as a single-let, I decided to use it as a multi-let. And I know a lot of people freak out when I mention multi-lets because it's scary to think about putting multiple tenants into one property. We've all heard nightmare scenarios about tenants trashing properties, not paying on time, and there's so many horror stories that people talk about. But at the end of the day, if you manage your properties correctly, these are stuff that you really don't have to worry about. Again, a multi-let is simply putting in multiple tenants in a property instead of renting it out to one single family. If you want to find out more about multi-lets or student accommodation, consider investing in my property course and coaching program, where I talk a lot more about this strategy and I share industry insights and secrets that you can't find anywhere else. With that said, this specific property generates 21,000 Rand rental income on a monthly basis, and the expenses on average is around 16,000 Rand per month. Again, let's do the math. This property will put 5,000 Rand in your pocket of cash flow every single month because we just changed our strategy. It's exactly the same property, it's the same area, it's the same price class. What I've done is to use my experience and my knowledge and to change the strategy to increase my overall rental income so that the property can actually put cash flow in my pocket. Again, 5,000 Rand will not make you retire and you can sit back and do nothing. But ask yourself this question: how many properties that puts 5,000 Rand in your pocket every month can you afford compared to properties that take 2,100 Rand out of your pocket? The answer is an endless amount. These properties help increase your overall income or revenue, which helps you increase your affordability with the banks, meaning you will be able to take out more loans to buy more cash flowing properties to ultimately grow your portfolio. The reason I like the 750,000 Rand price class is because majority of South Africans can buy in this price class. It all depends on your income as well as your credit score and your expenses, but I think that majority of South Africans can afford a 750,000 Rand property. So that means there's a lot of supply for these type of properties, which also means you can pick up these properties for bargains, because most of the time people sell these properties out of desperation because they bought it as a single let and they quickly realize that it's not a profitable or a good investment and they simply want to get rid of these properties. That's where we as investors step in and make them a competitive offer and turn the investment around into a profitable deal. Obviously, remember, 750,000 Rand in an area like Western Cape is going to be completely different. So it only works in certain areas and in certain cities. Something else that I like to do with these apartment or sectional title properties is to rent out my parking bays. Most of the time the people that live here walk to work or to the university and they don't really have cars. But there's also working class peoples in the complex or in the apartment building that do have cars, but there's not enough space for them to park their cars safely. So this again is another opportunity that we can use to generate extra income, and I charge between 120 and 150 Rand per parking bay on a monthly basis. I know it's not a lot of money, but at the end of the day it adds up. So comparing a traditional single-let property to a multi-let property, which one do you think is the better investment? Yes, of course, there's risks involved with both strategies, but at the end of the day, it depends on your end goals. I want to benefit from my properties in the short term, the medium term, as well as the long term. If you focus on single-let properties only, that is focused on a longer term, slower compounding growth that will be much more beneficial in the long term compared to the short term. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them down in the comments. It's so good to be back. I hope that 2025 again will be a year of breakthroughs for everyone. And I hope to see you guys on this channel being active, commenting, asking questions, and helping each other out, adding good value to the channel. With that said, I'll see you guys in the next one.